Wrestling podcast never felt this great. Tables, ladders, chairs, they tell it all. From the highest highs to the lowest fall. Great and glory tales from the ring. Every chant, every cheer they'll bring. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never felt this great.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Devon and the Duke podcast. This is a limited edition series hosted by your main man, Duke Loves Rasslin. And of course, the five-time Hall of Famer, the YouTube sensation, the man who trended during WWE SummerSlam, which is just fascinating to me. All these years later, and this man, one half of the Dudley Boys, still trending above current stars, which is wow. The one, the only brother, Devon Dudley. How you doing there, Devon?
I'm doing good. Not bad. Not bad at all. Very eventful last couple of weeks for me, and enjoyed every bit of it. Trending, I didn't know until you said something about it. So, I mean, hey, God is good. That's all I'm going to say. Like you said, with so many current superstars that probably blow me away, and I say that in terms of blow me away because they're current right now. Remember, out of sight, out of mind. And when you're not in the public eye in the wrestling business like you used to be, and you take on a different role, chances of you trending more than the people that are currently out there doing what they're doing. That says something. So, again, I'm very humble and very grateful to God that, that happened, and I can't be more happier.
Respect to Bubba. Respect to your brother. He manages to get himself on TV every year pretty often, whether he's doing stuff with TNA or, WWE, LFG or interviews, whatever. Bubba is always in front of a camera. So, kudos to him because in his own way, he's keeping the brand alive by doing that. But with that said, the pop that you got when they put the camera on the both of you, and especially when Bubba said, Devon, and you were like, what? And then people were just going crazy. Could you feel that energy when you guys were doing that? Because on TV, it came across.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 56,000 people screaming. It was great. Even when we walked out with the Hardys, the Hardys were like maybe 25 feet on the side of us and ahead of us. So, they got their pop, but then as we started walking, we got ours. So you could definitely tell the difference in, the pops. And it was overwhelming.
It was so special to see, bro. And then again, on X, you guys trended for the next couple of matches, which was amazing. So not just trending above whoever else is on the card, but of all the topics happening in the world, the Dudley Boys were trending. So it's like, man, that brand is still something that people care about, still something that people like talking about. And most importantly, you guys are still people that they want to see, especially together. So, I got to tip my hat to you, man, to remain relevant for so long and to be able to still in this modern day with so much going on, to be able to capture people's attention and hold it like that. That's good stuff, man. That's really good stuff.
I can only thank God. I know people probably tired of hearing me saying this, but I do. I just thank God because I don't care if they're tired of me saying this or not. Nothing happens without God's approval. I mean, and things like that is all I need to hear and see. Because again, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in this position that I'm in right now. And I brought this up, and I was going to say this to somebody that pretty much was talking about when wrestlers leave the business or they're not as relevant as they used to be. And I say, and I'm bringing this up because here it is, even during the Attitude Era, Not so much the Hogan and Andre era, because we know back then there was no social media. There wasn't anything for these guys to go make money if they didn't do the right thing with their money, or they wasn't working behind the scenes in some capacity. You couldn't make money. The Attitude Era, that generation, we were lucky to stumble upon social media when it came out, because now a lot of us are being able to make money outside of the wrestling business. Although so many of us that left during the time of the end of the Attitude Era had to get a regular 9 to 5 job and go out there and work. And believe me when I say it, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're so used to being in front of the camera and entertainment business and making money that way, it's hard for an individual to go back to a 9 to 5 job. It's very hard. And sometimes mentally, it plays a huge play in your mind thought process. And so for me to be able not only to make money at the autograph signings that I do, um, the Legends deal that WWE has given Bubba and myself, the things that, with Fanatics, the signing of the autographs, the baseball cards and everything. Um, like I said, the Legends deal with the royalty checks and things like that. And not to mention with my businesses, the detailing business, the wrestling school, which is doing very well. Um, and on top of that, the YouTube channel, making money off the YouTube channel. And then with the sponsorships that come in, I've been blessed in every way, shape, or form to continue this Devon brand going. And it's only through the grace of God that this is happening. So people that don't believe in the Bible or don't believe in God, and I get that every once in a while when I go on my Instagram at Testify Devon and I put biblical things up there. You have the devil working in full capacity, because you'll get some idiot that'll say the Bible ain't real, God ain't real, hail Satan. I don't even respond. I just block them. It's not worth talking to ignorant people like that. If you don't believe what I believe, then that's you. Okay, but my belief is God. And what I believe that book that we call the Bible. So if you don't believe it, that's on you. I'm not saying you're going to hell, not that you believe in hell and, and heaven, but in my opinion, that's your opinion. You're not going to persuade me in any way, shape, or form. My mother and father raised me to believe in God, to believe in the Bible, and to study the Word. And that's what I do. I don't study the Word the way I should, but I study it. And I take Bible quotes and I listen to preaching all the time. Am I a Christian that is going to say I'm going to heaven because I do all of that? No, because I fall just like the next man. I've done things that I'm not proud of, even to this day. I go through my own trials and tribulations, but doesn't mean I'm going to give up on God. That old saying in the church, he may not come when you want him, but I'm going to tell you, he's always on time. And instead of looking for vengeance in myself to try to get the person back for what that's done me wrong, I sit back with popcorn, put my feet up on my desk, and I watch God at work. That's what I do.
Here, here. I love that. It's funny you say that, because that's one of my mom's favorite things to say to me all the time. Don't try to seek vengeance on your own. God will sort it out. You just got to be patient.
He certainly will. You have to be patient and wait, because we're so impatient, because we want it right then and now. When something's done wrong to us, we want it taken care of right then and now, which is why you see so many times when people say things wrong to us, you go on social media and people start getting the best verbally of somebody, and that other person feels like they got to come back and say something back to them. For what? Because just because you say what you say is not going to get through their head what you're thinking is how it hurts your feelings or it hurts you. They're still going to feel the same way. It's only when God points it out to them that they realize that they screwed up.
Speaking of screwing up, I got to tell you, man, the dirt sheets have really put a bad taste in my mouth through the years, just for misinformation, blatant lies, spinning narratives to try to put themselves over, digging into
Oh
digging into the
God.
personal lives of you guys.
What do they do
Well,
now?
well,
What do
well.
they
Here's
do
a great
now?
example. There is and I'm not going to name, I'm not going to say their name because all that does is give them press. I can tell you offline who I'm talking about specifically, but it's a low life scumbag that has gone out of their way. They've lied about you before. Um, One of their big things that they've been whispering to people and posting about is that Devon Dudley will never be cleared again to wrestle. It'll never happen. His health is too bad. He'll never wrestle again. Trust me, it's not going to happen. This complete and utter goofball who has never spoken to you before, by the way, has never directly spoken to you, acts as if they're your doctor or something like that, and they've been telling anyone and everyone that'll listen that you will never perform again, which is ironic because coming up in October, you and your brother are going to be in Lowell, Massachusetts, wrestling what could be the final Dudley Boys match in history, and you're going up against the Hardy Boys. Folks, this is going to be for TNA once again, right? What is it? Bound for Glory? Huge
Hmm.
pay-per-view event. The president of TNA has been talking about it. He's excited for the match. He can't wait to see it. Carlos Silva, shout out to him. And he said something interesting. He said, look, we're not going to put anybody out there who can't physically be out there. We're not going to risk anybody's lives or anything like that. So if we put the match together, there's a reason for that. So Devon, for the dirt sheet goofballs who've been misleading people and talking this nonsense, are you able to wrestle this match? Yes or no?
Yes. What they fail to understand too is I have a wrestling school in not Kissimmee anymore. Sorry, Winter Park. And I get in the ring and I teach these students. I take bumps. I do everything in this ring. So before you start running your mouth, if you don't know me, reach out to me. Ask me. I'll tell you. I don't have any feelings of it. If I didn't think I couldn't, if I didn't think I could, I wouldn't. If I felt that my body wasn't going to be able to take it, then I wouldn't. Here's the deal. The only people I do trust is Matt and Jeff. I'm going off a script and I'll say it's Matt and Jeff that I trust. And I say that because those are the only two that I would put my body on the line with, just because of our history and what we've done and how we feel about each other. Not saying that somebody's gonna go easy or anything like that. But again, if I felt like I couldn't do it, then I wouldn't do it. It's as simple as that. No one's making me. I'm not doing it because I need the money or anything. I said it on my YouTube channel. When Bubba left the company in 2016 and didn't want to resign, I felt that I still had something left in this tank. And when I went to Triple H and asked him, I said, "What happens if I don't take this producer role? What does that mean?" And he says, "Well, unfortunately, the old man wants both of you. He doesn't just want one. He doesn't want just Bubba, and he doesn't want just Devon. You're kind of like in the same scenario with Animal and Hawk. We didn't want one without the other. So if you don't take this deal with being a producer, then we're going to have to let you go." I had a family to feed. I had to do it. There was benefits involved. There was a large amount of money that was put on the table as a producer that I didn't have to wrestle anymore. So I took the producer's role. And I was always trying to give little scenarios here and there how I could come back and help out the younger talent. And then the stroke happened and I couldn't do it. But it was always an itch that I needed to scratch, and that was the itch. In the 1000 episode, remind you, I was about maybe 7 months out of back surgery and did what I did at the 1000 episode. Was I in pain? Yes. Did this have anything to do with the stroke? No. The stroke was cleared me a year after that if I wanted to get back in the ring. And I said, okay. But now it was the back surgery that was causing me the problems because you have to get used to all of that. You have to get used to the bolts and screws, the fusion. what was it, 8 months? I think it was after it, 8 months, almost a year. That's not going to work that quick. I'm going on now almost 3 years. And not to mention, I keep saying it, DDP yoga. It works. Working with DDP, his wife Paige, Bobby Fish, who I just did a session with yesterday at my school. Then I get in the ring, I hit the ropes, I start bumping, taking bumps. I don't do leg drops anymore. And believe me when I say this, I was telling my lady, I said, I want to do leg drops so bad in this match with the Hardys, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid because of the compression. This is what happened with Hogan, and Hogan admitted it to me, and he said it in interviews. All the years of doing that leg drop, the easiest move to possibly do, is what caused them. They're going to have those back problems because you're compressing your vertebrae. You're jumping up in the air and you come crashing down. For as many years as Hogan has wrestled, he did a leg drop every single time. Not to mention all the other stuff he probably did too, but the leg drop was what really, really did it for him. And I wanted to pay tribute to Hogan. I did, but then I thought about it. I said, I can't take that chance. I can't take that chance of doing a leg drop and messing up something. And chances are I might not mess up anything, but I just don't want to take that chance. So to go back to the original question, can I still go? Yes, I can still go. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't. And besides, I'm not going to be flying off of ladders and jumping off of tables or through tables. We'll have a nice nostalgia match where we're going to get people happy, jumping out of their seats. Devon get the tables, you know, version one, Matt Hardy, get them doing everything, delete, delete, delete. We're going to entertain the people and still give them what they want. We're going to show them that we have not lost a step. And if I went in that ring at the wrestling school with those students and I couldn't do what I was doing, then I would say, I can't do this match. But that's not the case. I'm in that ring and I'm doing it. Just because you don't see me doing it, don't mean that I'm not doing it. And I think a lot of people are going to regret what they're saying come Bound for Glory.
Well, that's the best part. These goofballs, they know they're fans of yours, and they're always trying to come up with something in order to talk about you. But the fact that they want to act as if that they played a doctor on TV, so that makes them feel like they could say whatever they want. It's just silly. It's all silly. I don't understand it. A bunch of people have asked me to ask you directly from a mental and physical standpoint. And I guess you kind of answered this question already, but I'll ask you this phrase a little differently. From a mental and physical standpoint, as it relates to this match against the Hardys, the retirement match, how are you feeling?
Feel great. Nor am I looking at this as being something where I'm scared to do or anything like that. No. Listen, I've still been in the ring. I've still been doing things after the 1000 episode. Am I going to do a leg drop? No. Am I going to do anything that's going to compress my vertebrae? No, I'm not. And even if I didn't have the surgery and I was healthy as an ox, I shouldn't be doing that anyway. So I'm not going to sit here and do things that's going to, hurt me or injure me. Listen, Bubba and I have never been guys that have been high flyers. We've been on the ground, punching, kicking, and doing a shoulder tackle, my spinning elbow, 3D, things like that. The what's up? Hell, I may, I may not do the what's up. I don't know. I know when that adrenaline is going through my body, I might go, okay, let's do it. And then again, I might say, no, I don't want to. I've done everything that I was supposed to do in this wrestling business for me. Did I win a world title? No, I didn't. Did some of my, people that I was with won? Yes. And that's fine with them. I was happy with the tag team division. I was happy with my singles run in TNA with the television title. I'm good. This will put the final nail in the coffin of what I need to do. So I'm good. I don't need to go out there and be the ECW diva that didn't care about his body. I'm going to protect my body. like Randy Orton told me when I had that talk with him, and I said this in an interview, Yvonne, you got to think smart. And he goes, I know it's kind of weird coming from me because you kind of helped me through the ranks coming up in the business when you were a vet and I was a rookie. But now I'm going to tell you what you used to tell me. Think smart. Go in there and entertain, but go in there and do it smart. He said, that's what I do. And I've been looking at Randy Orton's matches since he's been back from the back surgery. And what is it that crazy that Randy does? He really doesn't do anything crazy. He goes out there, he entertains, he does what he has to do, and the matches are success. The bottom line is you put a story behind what you're doing. And that's what we should be doing. That's what was taught to us back during the Attitude Era when we were growing up in the business, or the ECW era. You don't have to go out there and kill yourself and maim yourself. Just go out there and think smart. There's a reason why Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and all of them lasted as long as they did and had the successful careers that they had. They did it smart. They told a story in their match. Every move, every hit, everything meant something. And that's what you have to do now. You have to think realistically, not egotistically, because it's suicide if you even think of doing it any other way. So for those that want to know, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm not going to be one of those guys that, you know, regret it later. No, because I'm going to go out there and do things smart. And I'm going to go out there with two guys that I know that will take care of me and won't do anything stupid, Jeff, to, injure me. And again, guys, I love Jeff. Don't think that I'm scared to death of Jeff because I'm not. He's a little off his rocker at times, but Jeff knows what he's doing. Jeff is crazy. I love him just as much as he loves me. And I wouldn't have it any other way but to be in there with Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys. I would love to have Christian and Edge in the mix. But, and I almost forgot. Think about Edge with his
Ooh.
neck. I mean, that's even more dangerous than my back. You know, Edge going in there and doing things smart, with the exception of jumping off that
Yeah,
cage.
yeah.
I remember, I called him up. I said, bro, what are you doing? He goes, Devon, I don't know what I was thinking. I was caught up in the moment. I was feeling good. I said, we too damn old to be doing that shit. I said, even when we were 20s, we shouldn't have been doing that because it takes a toll on the body. I did a thing on my YouTube channel about bumps being taken and how Debbie Allen took this bump through a glass table on the outside. And I was like, damn, bro. I was like, I love you to death. We've met. You're a great guy, but man, take care of your body. Don't let these knucklehead promoters talk you into doing stuff that you have to wow the crowd and then pay for it 20 years down the line. Freaking take care of your body, man. So you could have a 50, 60-year career as opposed to only a 20. Just take care of your body.
Well said. Well said. Once again, folks, TNA Wrestling presents Bound for Glory 2025. That's Sunday, October 12th at the Tsongas Center in Lowell, Massachusetts. Now, mind you, this is the biggest TNA pay-per-view of the year. But in addition to that, it's the 20th anniversary of Bound for Glory. So, of course, they got to do it big with two of the greatest tag teams of all time squaring off, other than the Road Warriors, to see who the greatest tag team is once and for all. Because, Devon, the Hardys keep trying to take that crown from y'all. So that's why you got to slap them around a little bit and remind them, Tickets are on sale at the songascenter.evenue.net, folks. So definitely get your tickets. They're going to sell out quick. You want to be there. It is going to be a celebration. No doubt about it. And clearly the Hardys and the Dudleys are going to be playing all the greatest hits. Play Freebird! Play Freebird! They're going to be playing all the greatest hits, folks. So you don't want to miss this one. Man, I'll tell you. Listen, you posted a photo on your Instagram, speaking of your Instagram, And I was blown away. Dixie Carter. Now, mind you, and I hate to date her like this, but she's coming up on her 61st birthday here. So in October, she's going to turn 61 years old. And damn it, she looks at least 20 years younger than that.
Hmm.
Incredible.
She
She looks
looks
great.
great. She looks great, and my hat goes off to Dixie. Um, Dixie always looked good. I thought. I didn't think there was a time when Dixie ever looked bad or too old. You know, and I've gone public in saying that during the Dixie regime that I was very unhappy with TNA because of how I felt I was being treated at the time. But Dixie and I talked, and since then, and it's water under the well. You move on. Business is business. I am where I am in life, and nothing really hurt me to that point where I can sit there and hold a grudge because I'm not. But I will say, like I said, I will say this: they helped me during the time when I left WWE, and I'm just very grateful for the 10 years that I spent with them. I had some good times, whether it be wrestling in the very beginning that helped the tag team division, whether it had been the television title run, or even the Aces and Eights. I had a great time. Were there a lot of bad times in between? Sure, there were. But we got through it. We became successful, and that's all that matters.
I'm going to ask you an interesting question that you've probably never been asked before. But let me set this up here because you're very close with your mom. I'm very close with my mom. I know for me personally, I've been fortunate enough, and this is kind of unusual. I've had, in terms of leadership, in every job that I've had for the most part, at some point, I had a woman for a boss. So if I were to tally it up, I would say almost half of the people I've ever had to report through the years, even to this day, were women. So I got a unique perspective on what women can do, how they are as leaders, et cetera, et cetera. And I got to tell you, me personally, I've always preferred, if I have to report to anybody, women, because I've gotten along with women so well, just in life in general. So it's we just flow. Not to say there's anything wrong with working for a man, but you know how we are. we can be a little much, especially to
Uh-huh.
other men. We tell you to do it, you better get it done. Get in your face, want to smack you around or so. Women, there's a different approach there that I respect.
Uh-huh.
So you're somebody who you had Dixie as really one of the final bosses in that company, but in WWE you also had Stephanie McMahon, who was very high up there um, throughout your time in the company. How did it feel to work in the wrestling industry with women who were in charge, and Stephanie and Dixie in particular? What were some of the differences, if any, to the way that they would manage their leadership compared to all the different men that you worked for in wrestling?
Let me see if I understand the question before I answer it, because I don't want to mess this up. In detail, what do you mean?
What are some of the differences between the way that Dixie and Stephanie would manage, give direction, hold people accountable, uh,
Well,
all that?
I'm going to say this. I got you. I'm going to say this. With Dixie, there was a level of forgiveness to a sense where you could play on Dixie's heartstrings, I believe, and chances are she would break. Because I think a lot of times Dixie didn't realize how conniving that the people in this business could be. And I believe that there were a lot of people that took advantage of Dixie. that knew that were able to talk her into not standing her ground and things like that. Now, Stephanie, on the other hand, you ain't playing with her, man. Stephanie was so much like Vince in a sense where you couldn't pull anything over her head, which was good because, with the egos that were in WWE at that time, you couldn't do that to Stephanie. Stephanie learned from her dad. Stephanie learned from Hunter. You know, Stephanie learned, from Pat Patterson. I mean, there were people there that groomed Stephanie to be in a position during that time that she was in, and while she was able to handle it. You couldn't sit up there and manipulate Stephanie. Stephanie was too smart for that. And again, she would take a page out of her father's book. And as sometimes I used to always say that Stephanie was probably more ruthless than Vince, if ever given the full booking or what have you on the ownership of the company. Because as a woman, you have a lot to prove that you're not a pushover and things like that. Because a lot of men would probably want to take advantage of that. But you could, again, I got to say, you could not do that with Stephanie. And she was taught by Triple H as well. So as Hunter was learning through Vince, Stephanie was learning through Vince and Hunter.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Stephanie also has a business degree from Boston. I think it was Boston College.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually, I
She's
take
a
that
very
back. It was BU.
she's a very intelligent
Yeah, it
woman.
was Boston University. Excuse me, Boston
Okay.
University. But she, like you
Hmm.
said, she's nobody to play with. Excellent leader, and she has
Nope.
a new podcast. And I'm just putting it out there. I would love to see Devon Dudley be interviewed by Stephanie McMahon so that you can tell her yourself, Devon, that when you said that she was a beautiful woman and all that good stuff there and the dirt sheets ran with it, you weren't trying to flirt or do anything like that. So we need you on that show to clear that up so Stephanie can look you in your eye, because she'll snatch you up if you say the wrong thing. To look you in your eye as she
Man, you make me not want to be on her show. You scaring the hell out of me right now.
listen, you don't know, man. I'm
No,
gonna
and
fix you into
and,
everything.
yeah, I know, I see that. No, but the wording was messed up during that time.
Yeah.
And instead of saying I admired, I said I was infatuated with her. And of course, infatuation and admire are two different meanings, two different definitions. But again, it was one of those things where I was talking and not really paying attention to what I was saying, and I used the word infatuated. But I was only trying to say that, I admired her a lot for what she had been through coming up. Look, she grew up in this business. She knew, the Andre and Hogan era. She knew the Brett and Shawn era. And of course, she knew um, the Rock and Austin era. She knew the Attitude era. So I was basically putting over how smart she was in the business. And then it got turned around and it said that, oh well, Devon has a crush. Watch out, Triple H. No, don't watch out. Watch out for what? That woman is madly in love with her husband, and her husband's madly in love with her. Ain't nobody trying to disrupt that, and ain't nobody trying to start no controversy. So, all of those knuckleheads that tried to run with that, and there were people that I was in the ring with that try to do a thing on that too. And I made it publicly known they can go F off because damn well that wasn't the case. And I didn't mean it that way. But people ran with it and it was what it was. And at the time I was home recovering from the back surgery. So I was like, thank God I didn't have to go into work and go into those meetings. Oh, I can only imagine
well,
what my fellow, other producers and people would have said.
I would tell you something funny, man, because she just put out a new episode where she interviewed Naomi and Jimmy Uso, and
Hmm.
at one point, I don't know how they even got there, but they were talking about Trish Stratus and how she's everyone's first crush and what have you. And Jimmy was saying how he had Trish Stratus's poster up on his wall. That was like the first poster his mom would let him hang. And Stephanie was like, "Wait a second, you had Trish on your wall, you didn't have me on your wall?" And Jimmy started blushing and laughing, and man, it was so. The first thing I thought to myself, I was, "Oh, we got to get Devon on this show now." If she's starting to bust chops like that, I want to hear her do that to Devon because this is gold right here.
Well, I listen. I know Stephanie. I know Stephanie would run with it and make me feel so uncomfortable. I know she would, and she would be laughing underneath her breath hysterically because of it, because she's very good with her words and she knows how to make you stumble. And I'd just be like, no, but that's not what I meant, Devon. you know. But you know what I loved about Stephanie was when I had my stroke. Um, she called me, and I was in the middle of going through some procedures at the time when she called, because she called twice. The first time I think I was being wheeled in for surgery, and the second time, I think I was in the recovery room, and I saved it to this day. She was just like, hey, Devon, it's Steph. I just want to say that, we're all pulling for you and things like that. And you're going to be the true rock star that you are. And you're going to bounce back from this. And I know you're going to be better than ever. And while prayers and thoughts are with you, and I just want you to know that me and Hunter were thinking about you, and we know that you're going to make a full recovery. And that was one of the things, one of the voice messages she left. And then the second one was somewhat similar. And she said, Devon, I called you the first time. I know you're going through some stuff, but I just wanted to call the second time to make sure you know that I will not relax until I speak to you. And I know that it's you that I'm talking to. So when she did that, and then I finally got to speak to her and talk to her, um, I was so overwhelmed with joy because she didn't have to do that, but she did it. And that showed the relationship that Stephanie and I had during the Attitude Era, where it was a mutual respect, where, she thought enough to want to hear my voice to make sure that I was okay, and that not taking it from the doctors or whatever, because she was very sincerely, she cared about what was going on. And, that was just one thing that I would always be grateful for her for doing that. Her and Hunter both, they were true champions when I was going through what I was going through, and they made sure to know that I was okay. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Stephanie and Hunter sent me flowers to the house. Uh, I remember when I talked to Stephanie, I said, "Well, damn, Steph, I ain't dead." She started laughing. She said, Devon, I know we were just one. I said, no, I know. I'm joking with you. I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate the sincere of you guys trying to reach out to me and just really, really trying to make sure I was okay. I said, but you know me, I'll be better than ever. And I'm going to bounce back, and I'm going to be back producing and doing what I do in no time. And sure enough, I was back.
I love that story. Uh, I love it. It's not the first time you told it on the show, but I love to hearing it because it's a reminder that all of you are human beings, and all the time that you spent together, there are some true bonds that go beyond coworkers. You guys are family. So to
Hmm.
hear humanity being shared amongst each other like that, because you hear all the negative stuff all the time, to hear that humanity, that's the word that I'm going to stick with on this. I love it, man. I love it. It's really cool. And shout out to Steph. Like I said, she got her new podcast and what have you. I appreciate seeing her involved in WWE in some capacity again. I always felt that it was rotten that she wasn't with the company anymore and all that good stuff there. So to see her back and doing something, and watching these interviews and seeing how much everyone really enjoys talking to her, um, I can tell that she's treated people really well. Which kudos to that.
Yes, she did. She's a true
Yeah,
champ.
yeah.
Yep, she was a true champ.
Kudos to that. Listen, I asked you about the Dixie Carter photo, and we can kind of end on this here. The photo was taken at Hulk Hogan's going home service, his funeral.
Hmm.
Just about anyone and everyone was there, yourself included. So let me just ask you directly, man. And I'm not trying to bring you down the wrong road, so to speak. But overall, I mean, how was that experience? Do you feel like the send off was appropriate for the Hulkster and all that good stuff there? How did it go, man?
Oh, yeah, I thought the send off was great for Hulk. not wanting to touch on anything and start trending stupidly again for stuff that shouldn't be trending in the first place. But a lot of people were there, and they paid their respects. Names that I haven't seen in a long time, names that I grew up watching that I had never met. And it's always sad that there are times like that that brings you to either meeting someone or associating yourself again with people, again. But it's just sad that it took that to do it. And that's what me and Dixie were talking about, because I hadn't seen Dixie in years. I think since I left and walked out of TNA's doors right after I got pinned with the loser leaves town match with Aces and Eights and the TNA guys. I hadn't seen Dixie since then. So we had said little things to each other here and there in text, and said little things to each other during posts that I would post on about the kids and stuff. Other than that, we hadn't seen each other in a while. So it was kind of like a reunion, and the it was the what's the word I'm looking for? Um the hard feelings that I might have had for the company during that time was all washed away. And again, I say it wasn't the new regime of TNA, it was the old regime that I had problems letting go of my feelings with them. And, you know, I was just happy that I was able to let that go and to be good with Dixie again, because I really enjoyed Dixie. I really enjoyed her company and what she did for Bubba and myself during the time when we couldn't come to an agreement with the contract with WWE. I was just very happy that we buried, or that I buried, I should say, everything. 'Cause I don't think Dixie really knew how I felt, because I was very hurt by the company and what they were doing with me at the time, before the Aces and Eights and before the television run with the television title. Um, it was like after me and Bubba did our little feud in TNA, where the Motor City Machine Guns had beat us and we were supposed to get into retirement. And then, of course, I started a feud with Bubba. That was when things went sour for me in TNA. And I felt a certain way about it and why it went that way. So I was able to let go finally when I saw Dixie. And we talked, we laughed, we joked, and we said, it shouldn't be things like this that brings us together. We had more good times than we did bad times. And that's what these dirt sheet writers and all of these clowns out there that write things that have no business writing, that's what you should think about. We're family. I'm sorry you couldn't be a part of that, and all you did was watch it on TV. But there was a sense of closeness between us when we worked together, put each other's lives in each other's hands. But you just want to focus on the drama. You want to focus on if we have fights or say something inappropriate and we don't get along. You want to focus on that. And that's wrong. Just like I tell the story about New Jack. Sure, there were things that was said that I said and that he said. But you know what? Before that feud even happened between Jack and I, we were family. We hung out. He slept at my house. I slept at his house. He knew my kids. He knew my wife at the time. We were family. But all you do is harvest over the disagreement or what we're going through at that particular point in time with each other. You don't look at the other stuff that we went through as friends, as family. You only want to look at the bad things. And if that's how you're going to live your life, then that's you. But don't put me in that category. And again, I can't express enough how happy I am that me and Dixie got to talk. And it was sad that it was on that day, but we got to talk and we let things go. We move on. And that was the whole thing I was saying about the whole Hogan thing. We got to move on. We have to have some type of clarity on things that might have hurt us. How do we move on from it? How do we learn to forgive, not forget? Because history proves that when you forget, you tend to repeat it. We can forgive Hogan. We don't have to forget, but we can forgive, especially when it's sincere, if it is sincere. So, I've learned to forgive people over the years for things that I felt that was done wrong to me. And I'm not going to sit there and let hurt or anger consume me because you feel as an individual that I should hold on to that. And I'm just not going to do that.
To check out Zencastr, Zencastr. That is my favorite program to use for all my recording needs. And the great part is, not only do they have audio, but they also have video options as well. So whether you're video conferencing, podcasting, just catching up with friends and loved ones, you definitely want to check out Zencastr. They have paid subscriptions. They also have a free version, which I'm actually using right now. Transcripts, the whole 9 yards, and even, get this, Zencastr has started to do hosting. So for all you podcasters out there, if you're looking for a host for your show, please consider Zencastr. You will not regret it. I'm telling you right now. Once again, Zencastr. Made on Zencastr. That's right. Eric had let me know that he was very, very appreciative of what you said because you didn't have to say it. And it went a long way. You know, when people are talking about Bischoff, most of the time they're saying something negative, kicking the guy. Half of these fans, more than half, most of these fans, they're just regurgitating stuff that Meltzer and some of these other dirt sheet people that have a bone to pick with Eric because Eric wouldn't give them the access that they wanted. You know, there's a lot of behind the scenes reasons why Eric gets the negative attention that he gets, and I think it's unfair, quite frankly. Not to say that he was perfect. He definitely earned some of the heat that some of the wrestlers give him who worked under him and all that good stuff. But how many years ago was that? You know what I mean? So again, for you on your platform to shout Eric out the way that you did and to talk about how much he helped you and your family, just going to bat for you and sticking up for you, it was a big deal. So I'm telling you that I know you and Eric will speak at some point soon, and he'll relay that to you himself. But any thoughts on that, just from a general standpoint?
Well, I meant every word I said. Listen, I wasn't there during the whole NWO run. I wasn't in WCW. I was in ECW, but I didn't know Eric then. And so by the time Eric got to TNA, all these horrible things were said about him. Now, did he do some people wrong? Probably. Was some of the things justified with some people? Probably. This business has big egos. Sometimes you got to put these guys in place. Listen, Vince McMahon did the same thing. A lot of guys hated Vince who worked for him because Vince wasn't going to allow anybody to step on him. It's his vision, it's his company. He's going to do what he feels is best for his company. And if that's how it works, then guess what? He's paid a paycheck. So, boom. Same thing in WCW. It might have been Turner who was the head boss in terms of financially, but it was Eric who was the boss at that time. Could Eric have made some wrong decisions along the way? Absolutely. But Eric, I heard in an interview, said it best. He was like, I know I might have messed up a few times, and I did wrong, and some people haven't forgiven me for what I've done. I said, but I truly am sorry. But business was business back then. Look, it was a doggy dog world back then, and you either swam or you sank, and that's just the way it was back then. So, Bischoff, carrying the company the way he did with Hall, Kevin, and Hogan, you know, it was big back then. So who's to say that you wouldn't mess up along the way? All I know is that the Eric Bischoff that I met in TNA, no, wasn't that same person that some of these guys who badmouth him saw. I didn't see that. I saw what he gave to me when I first met him. It was funny. I will tell this story. I didn't know Bischoff then, and I'm only hearing things that I had heard from other people. So they were doing a backstage promo with somebody. It might have been AJ Styles and somebody, I don't remember. But he announced quiet on the set. And I was back there and my phone rang. It was on silent. And I was talking, and I answered it, and I was talking. As I'm talking, I'm thinking that he couldn't hear me. And he said, "Damn it, I said quiet on the set." And I said, "Let me call you back." I hung up the phone, and I looked at him, and he looked at me. He was like, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this. We got to get this done." I said, "Okay, man, not a problem." And I remember that was the first interaction that me and Eric had. I don't know if he remembers that, but I was like, "All right, man, whatever. I'll keep quiet." And it was funny. And then I remember that as clear as day. I don't know if he does. But then, like I said, time had went on, and I started working with him and doing things with him. And I was like, this ain't the same Eric that everybody's talking about. And I was like, this is something different about this Eric. I was like, I see the change. I see everything. I see the opposite of what everybody's saying. And I came to the conclusion that maybe he was a different person back then, but he's not that same Eric now. And, as far as I'm concerned, I have no ill feelings whatsoever towards that man. Like I said before, he helped me and my family. And I've got nothing but respect for him. Every time I see him, whether my back is turned and I don't know he's in the room, he makes it an effort to come and say hello to Devon. Where certain times when your back is turned and someone you think is your friend doesn't acknowledge you or says hello to you, even when your back is turned, to me, that speaks volumes. But Eric made it a point every time I'm in a room and my back is turned, I don't know he's there. He's like, "Devon, how you doing?" I turn around and it's Eric. I'm like, "Hey, Eric." We embrace, we hug, we say hello, how you doing? How's the family and all of that. And me and his son, Garrett, we hit it off great when he was in Aces and Eights. We hung out all the time. All the time we hung out. And we were hanging out even after Aces and Eights was done and after I left TNA. So him and I had a great relationship. And, it was just one of those things where, again, we're family, man. We're family. That's all I could say. We saw each other more than we saw our own families. We worked together. We did what we did. We made magic. We had fun, and we made money in the process. So I've got nothing but love and respect for Eric, and thank him all the time. He got to know me a little bit. He got to know a little bit about my background and how I was raised, and he was impressed. He was like, "Devon, I never knew that about you." He goes, "That's why I like you." I said, "Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that." Because, me coming from a biblical family and how I am, he really respected that. So again, I got nothing but love for Eric, man.
Folks listening, we all can fall into the trap of speaking ill and negatively about people, especially people who piss us off, and generally do something that warrants uh, us to express ill feelings towards them and what have you. And that's always loud and boisterous and what have you. I beg of you, everybody out there, please be as loud and as boisterous about the positive things about people, especially people who don't necessarily always get shouted out. Um, you never know how that can affect somebody because we're all going through something. We're all carrying the weight of the world in our own ways. We're all one banana peel away from losing it all, whatever you got. It's nice to be acknowledged. It's nice when somebody has something positive to say about you, especially when you're not expecting it. So, I'm just gonna put that out there in the atmosphere, so to speak. Don't hesitate to shout somebody out and let them know how they've impacted your life and how you feel about them. That's my take. The big man. What's the best way everyone can keep up with you and all the great things you got going on?
Yeah, well, I have my YouTube channel, which is doing extremely well. Very proud of it. Been going since December, I believe, of 2024, and I'm already at 175,577 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I want to thank the fans and everybody that subscribes and writes their likes and comments down below. Thank you. We do read them and we do understand what you're saying. So thank you very much. That's one way you can find out what I'm doing. Also, I'm also on Instagram, and that Instagram is Testify Devon. It's D-VON Dudley, Dudley. It's Testify Devon Dudley on Instagram, and of course on Twitter. My Facebook is private. Only friends and family are allowed on there. I'm sorry, guys, but that's just the way it is. Um, I also have a website, which is Devon Dudley Academy, for my wrestling school. And if you're interested in wrestling and you want to see if you got what it takes to become a professional wrestler, then by all means, give us a call at Devon Dudley Academy. We can definitely try to make your dreams come true. And you can contact us at 407. Hold on, I'm getting beside myself here. We're at 407 I'm getting messed up here. Hold on. I'm getting confused. I got so many damn numbers. 407 790 7800. We're located at 2720 Forsyth Road, Unit 318, Winter Park, Florida. We are literally 2 minutes away from the Performance Center. So when you get your butt in my school and you're working out and getting to where you need to be, we want to take you behind, Irish whip you into the Performance Center and get you up and going and get your dreams coming true. So give us a call. Again, 407 790 7800.
Well said. Well said. Folks, definitely make sure you check out Devon Academy. All of you aspiring wrestlers, and even all you wrestlers who need a tune-up. You're on the second half of your career, what have you, where you need to sharpen up. It is amazing the names that you see that come through Devon Academy, folks that you see on TV regularly. It's the truth, and there's a reason why those folks are stopping by and getting some extra training and what have you. It's worth it, for sure. Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, DukeLovesRasslin@gmail.com. As always, let me know what you think of the show, all that good stuff there. And, leading up to Bound for Glory, I'm going to put this out here, Devon. For all of you folks who have shows, if you would like to interview Devon, obviously reach out to Devon directly. You can also reach out to me, and I'll make sure he gets the information. He has a very tight schedule. Can't get to everybody, but some of you out there may be able to land yourself an interview with the Hall of Famer here. It's amazing. It's amazing the demand that's out there for Devon Dudley, and there's a good reason for that. So certainly don't hesitate. Get your requests in as soon as possible, because especially with that match going on, there's a lot of requests out there. Everyone wants to pick your brain, Devon. That's the way it is now, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy for it. I was happy to be at SummerSlam, the 26th anniversary of the TLC match. And that TLC match that was done at SummerSlam, excellent. Everybody's part, excellent. So many bodies. They told a great story. They did some hell of a bumps. Thank God it was them and not me. That's all I'm going to say.
I said, man, can you imagine being in that match? That match was crazy.
No, I cannot. Nope. And if the Dirt Sheet Riders want to put that out, Devon said he ain't doing no damn TLC match. Hell to the no. I'll be like Medea and
Spoiler.
have my Glock in my pocket. Hey, I'll have my Glock in my purse like Medea does. I wish a motherfucker would ask me some shit like that.
Listen, Tyler Perry, you call Devon, man. I know you got a role for him. You call Devon up now. Come on.
Please.
Please. All right, it's that time of the week now, brother. What is your word of the week to take us out?
Well, I'm going to say this, and it's something I've said before, and I might even have said it in the interview today because it holds so true. It's biblical. Let go and let God. Let God handle your situation. Let Him fight your battles. And always remember, He may not come when you want Him, but He's always on time. Sit back, relax, eat that popcorn, and watch His glory work.
Testify.
My brother.
Strictly for the culture every day. Stepping style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so divine. latest fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
Backstage whispers and the crowds roar. From matching giants to legends of yore. Devon's wisdom and Duke's keen view. Every episode feels like it's brand new. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never